Richard Pyatt. Welcome back to Pest Prospectives, the official podcast from the Pest Pros of Michigan. Today, pretty serious today. We're talking about corporate pest control. What, little pests that dress up in suits and act all corporate? No, but they show up in corporate locations, business locations, and what kind of difference does that make from a pest control perspective? Tony Sorrentino is back with us from the Pest Pros of Michigan, assistant certified entomologist, to talk to us about this. That's a title there, Tony.
Hey, Richard. Yeah, absolutely. That's why they shortened it to ACE.
Yeah, I guess I should just say ACE.
Just ACE. The commercial pest control is widely discussed. People are always in commercial environments, and it isn't just about killing bugs. It's about protecting processes. When pests interfere with food safety, product integrity, or sterile environments, the impact goes beyond nuisance. It becomes a business continuity issue.
Sure.
Pest control is part of quality assurance.
Yeah, think about that. If there's a pest that's going to interrupt the flow of business, this is a significant threat to the operations of the business, and thus a perhaps more complicated situation than the average residential bee removal or something like you guys did at my house not long ago. So let's talk about what makes it different from your perspective.
I talk a lot about IPM, and if anybody's been on here, that's integrated pest management. It's IPM with accountability. It's reducing chemical use and getting to the root cause of what's happening and then stopping that from happening to get facilities to a proactive place. We're operating under some pretty serious standards, and you'll hear a lot of, I call it alphabet soup, but it's a lot of acronyms. So here's some little breakdown on that. The FSMA is the Food Safety Modernization Act, and the focus is on preventing issues before they ever threaten food safety.
Oh, that sounds good.
The AIB is the American Institute of Bakers, and those are the auditors that show up that really care about sanitation and risk. That's our food service. And then people are usually pretty familiar with the FDA and the USDA, and those are agencies that regulate certain processed foods and the handling of pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. So we're really talking about a significant situation, but by extension, really meeting those standards.
Right. It's aligning with the rules that keep products safe and keep companies operating.
So what's high risk in this situation, a high risk pest?
High-risk pests are going to be the ones that can shut down a facility quickly. We're looking at stored product pests, rodent infestations because of their ability to traffic pathogens from septic areas to aseptic environments. Cockroaches and flies are the same thing because, that's where they live, is in filth. So there's a high propensity for transference of contaminated materials.
Yeah, that's no joke. And when you're looking at a situation like that, I presume then it becomes a sense of urgency to try and deal with this as quickly as you can.
Mm-hmm. A lot of these pests are highlighting structural or environmental vulnerabilities that could literally shut down production, food, pharmaceutical. Like, these are sensitive environments.
Right. And you talk about how these organizations set standards for these kinds of things. I presume then that when you're involved, then there's some compliance and documentation and so on that has to happen as part of your process.
Yeah, absolutely. We use a lot of different methodologies to ensure that we're meeting up with the standards. We use strategically placed monitors, detailed trend reporting. We offer sanitation insights and root cause correction so issues don't repeat. Anyone can go out and set traps, but our job is to control conditions, and there's no reason for them to be there in the first place.
Right. And we certainly have talked about the idea that there is some kind of root cause, some kind of avenue that is allowing the pests to infiltrate. So this is no different, right? You're still looking for the access points and trying to deal with those.
Right. Absolutely. You don't just walk through and spray baseboards. You're identifying structural vulnerabilities, gaps, cracks, crevices, things that could pose a threat to the discipline of the inside of the structure.
Yeah, and your attention to that is just as significant as that of a residential structure, right? You're still looking for the
Absolutely.
things that cause the issues and then trying to correct those.
Yep. The difference in high accountability facilities decisions have to be data driven. The results have to stand up to inspection. We do apply a lot of the same methodology to the residential accounts that we service as well. It's just not documented as well. The process doesn't change. It's just how well we tell the story of what happened.
Yeah, when there's extra accountability involved, then it's a different kind of situation. And speaking of that, something happens like this at a business, particularly if it's shut down. Now you've got a business owner or operator who's on you, right? They need immediate response.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had it happen where, and I'm not going to name any names. We've had it happen where the health department has come in, or some of the other monitoring agencies, some of that alphabet soup I was talking about, have shut down facilities due to rodent activity or cockroach infestation, or there's a unsolvable fly issue. No matter what they do, they can't get a hold of the flies. So they call in an ace, they call in an expert, and then we get to the bottom of it, and then we get their facilities to a proactive place.
So when that happens, I presume when you're dealing with the business owner or operator, you've got to work together, right, to try and get at it quickly. You're going to articulate to them what to expect, I'm presuming.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about communication. Pest management is a partnership where we can work together. We have trained eyes that are aware of the situations inside and outside of your home, that are looking at it from a different perspective.
Give us an example, Tony, about a situation that you were involved in that resulted in the solution that business owners want when this happens.
We had an ongoing issue. It was at a food handling plant here in the southwest lower Michigan area, and they had drain flies and forward flies, and it just started, and they couldn't figure out where they were coming from again with the flies, and nobody knows where they're coming from. Nobody knows where did they come from, where did they go. What happened was I went out personally. This is the value of having an associate certified entomologist on staff, because I'm going to look at it from an even different perspective from our certified field technicians that are trained, but we're trained to a higher degree, a higher level of understanding of the biology and the behavior of the pests. Why are they there? What's causing them to be there? What was the attractant that led them to be there in the first place? And how are we going to solve this? The forward flies and the drain flies are often a teller of underlying plumbing or sanitation issue. Forward flies are also called filth flies or humpback flies. And drain flies when you look at them, they look like they have Mickey Mouse ears. That's one of the major identifiers. They're fuzzy. They call them drain moths or drain flies. Whatever they are, where they breed is in the gradu, and I lovingly refer to that as that gunk that's built up in the drains.
Yeah.
And they live there and they breed there, and their larvae and their eggs crawl around in that, and they then fly out of that and come land on my pizza.
Yeah.
Or where I'm preparing food. It's even more sensitive in a food handling facility or a commercial kitchen or pharmaceutical handling manufacturing facility. Like, these are critical pests.
So an ace can see that pretty quickly and say, okay, this is the kind of fly.
There was a break in the plumbing that was subfloor. We identified it with a smoke test, and there was smoke coming out from under the sub slab. There was a cast iron pipe that was under the concrete floor that was busted, and they would have never known about that. It wasn't on anyone's radar.
Until the pests helped discover it. Yeah. So in a way, those flies help tell a story that had to be dealt with that maybe they wouldn't have known about until it had gotten worse.
Right. It would have been an ongoing issue. No amount of chemical application would have remediated that situation.
Wow. All right. So someone's listening to this. They own a business. They want to file away some information for the future, or maybe they're dealing with some kind of an issue now. What's the first couple of things you want them to think about as they're getting ready to reach out to you?
Commercial properties, commercial property owners, or the decision makers for these facilities, food handling, pharmaceutical, healthcare, schools. I want clients that are seeking services to really do an internal audit on the level of satisfaction that you are achieving with your current provider. I would love to have an opportunity to come out. I would love to do on-site critical initial facilities assessment and determine any chinks in your armor, so to speak, any structural vulnerabilities, anything on site that could lead to a shutdown.
And well ahead of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, want to try to get to any kind of issue before it's an issue. So there's a reason to reach out before there's a situation with which you have to deal that threatens.
Right, before it turns into a business continuity issue.
Yeah. Continuity is what we want, what we need. Don't want those interruptions. All right, so we've given you some things to think about there as it relates to corporate pest control, and the Pest Pros of Michigan are prepared to help you with that. Details in the show notes. Just click through and make yourself known and reach out. Also want to invite you to subscribe to the Pest PROSpectives episodes. We've had several of them now. You'll get alerts when those come available. Tony Sorrentino, ACE, with Pest Pros of Michigan. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard.